Hey, my name is Nathan Hirsch, a serial entrepreneur and the CEO of Outsource School. Catch me this week on the Jesse T Show. Yeah, I mean, I never had a 4-year-old in college. I started off buying and selling textbooks out of my college dorm room. Actually got a cease and desist letter from my college telling me to knock it off, to stop competing with them. And that led me down the path to selling other things besides books on Amazon. So I had to be one of the first 1,000 or so Amazon sellers out there. I was scaling this Amazon business, drop shipping from other manufacturers in the US. And I had to hire people to grow this business. So I tried hiring college kids. They were super unreliable. And that led me down the path to virtual assistants and hired my first VA, my second VA, made some good hires, some bad hires, but really saw an opportunity that, hey, if I could master hiring, I'd be able to scale this business. So I set out to build the perfect hiring process. And when I did that, I not only sold over $25 million on Amazon, but I started another company called FreeUp that we scaled to 8 figures in 4 years with no office, no US employees, just me and a team of virtual assistants in the Philippines. And that company was acquired at the end of 2019. So my expertise is in hiring and scaling with remote virtual assistants. Now I run a company called Outsource School, which teaches people our systems, our processes, so they don't have to go through the years of hiring mistakes that I went through to hire a good team. And we also invest in different companies separate from Outsource School, helping startups grow. So that's the short version of baby books to baby products on Amazon to FreeUp to Outsource School.
Brother, I love it. And thank you for the context. I mean, there's so much that we're going to dive into there. And the first thing I want to talk about is the entrepreneurial journey, because it's different for everyone, but the main thing is getting started. And so I could say, just to share a little bit of context, because this is our first conversation. For me, I grew up in Boston and I grew up with no money. And so being inventive or figuring out how to bring in money was kind of the narrative. And so growing up, it was, Gary Vee made it famous, but I was buying, selling, trading baseball cards, comic books, shoveling snow for money. We used to go to the Logan Airport, and we would be running through the terminals. There's these little things called smart carts, and they help people carry their luggage. And when you return them to the stall, you get a quarter back. And so we figured this out somewhere along the lines, and we would go on like a weekend, go make $5 or $10 running through the airport for a couple hours. And the best part was getting chased by security, which was really cool. So there was this element of fun and mischief. And, I've transitioned through, growing up in Boston, it was very tough. And there was a lot of drugs and drug dealers. And, I fell into that crowd a little bit where I started actually selling drugs and doing drugs. So like this entrepreneurial path was kind of innately built in me, but I didn't have any guardrails to keep me on the road. And so as I grew and went through the military and kind of got some perspective and met some amazing people, I really channeled in all this energy to be able to focus on building a company. And now I'm, 4 companies in, 2 of them we'll call them learning lessons, and 2 of them were successful. And I just want to hear more about your journey and the context of what started you, because sales isn't easy. And part of my journey was outside sales, door-to-door, cold call, commission, selling coupons, basically. So I understand the hustle is all I'm trying to say. So tell me about your hustle and where that came from.
Yeah. So growing up, my parents were both teachers. So we weren't poor, we weren't rich, we were kind of middle class, but my dad taught at the high school next to us. So I grew up in East Longmeadow. Because he taught at the Longmeadow High School, which is a much better school system, I got to go to that school system. Well, everyone in the town of Longmeadow, their parents are doctors, lawyers, dentists, business owners. So all my friends growing up had everything. And it was never more evident than during summer, winter vacations. I was working. I say I never had a real job, like a corporate job after college, but I had lots of side gigs. I was umpiring. I worked for Aaron Sales and Leads. I got some internships. I negotiated my pay. So I was making like $12 an hour, which was unheard of for a kid back then. So I had to hustle early because I had to pay for every little thing. If my friends had a video game and I wanted the same video game, I had to pay for it. My parents weren't going to buy it for me like theirs were. So I think that's where the hustle came from.